Good evening, friends. Again, meeting in the Materia Medica session. Yesterday, we have finished a very important practical remedy, that is the MACPOS. We have learned the aspects which are explained by Allen along with few cases. And today, we're going to start and learn one more acute remedy, that is Colchicum Autumnale. It is a very important remedy again from practice point of view. But before understanding this remedy, we must know why the Colchicum autumnale name is there. This remedy has its typical aggravation during an autumn. But question arises in our mind, why autumn? Because these drugs generally they are proved on in the European countries, and there are four weathers. We must know all of them. We must know exactly autumn when autumn is there, and if we know autumn, then we can utilize according to the months. So autumn is the period just going on. September, October, November, this is the autumn in European countries, and that's why one must know these seasons clearly so that you can utilize in your practice. So autumn is this period, that is the September, October, November, followed by winter, December, January, February. Then there is a spring again from March to May, and lastly the summer, June to August. These are the seasons which are according to the European seasons. We have only three: the winter, summer, and rainy weather. But the modalities are mentioned according to the European weathers or seasons. And that's why we must be able to find it out exactly the meanings. If we get the meanings, it is quite easy for us to reach to the remedy. And that's the name Colchicum autumnale, which has having a dysentery specifically in the autumn weather. And that we have to be very careful and cautious regarding using all those things. I will share two cases in my practice. A case exactly 1 year back in the month of October, there was a patient with an acute severe pain in the right great toe, and patient was the joint was inflamed very severely. All signs of acute inflammation were there, and patient told me that yesterday night everything was fine, and all of a sudden, this has started. And this is the first time he had that attack. It was purely an attack of gout. Then he explains what has happened. Last week, I had a disturbance in my abdomen. So what I asked, what was the problem? He said there was a dysentery. I was passing mucoid stools and big mucoid stools, and I have taken the allopathic treatment. He has shown the prescription, and there was a prescription ofloxacin or ornidazole was prescribed for him, and he said after taking that I felt better, that has stopped, and all of a sudden this thing developed in the morning. Then I asked what you consumed at the night, and he explained that at night I have consumed the that in Marathi we call it as a pitler. It is a prepared from the purely of a dal, and that is a farinaceous food. And that preparation used to is made up of totally protein. So it is a typical uric acid diathesis which has developed all of a sudden within a day, acutely, specifically in the month of October. And then I asked anything else. He said that I have lost the affection for food. I don't want to eat anything. And when I started examining, I have reached to his just checking the food. He never allowed it. It was so painful. And he says that I could not move it. Slightest movement, if you try to change the position, it is so painful. When such a slightest aggravation, slightest movement aggravates, associated with aversion to touch, one remedy comes in our mind very easily. Then the colchicum is the bryonia. But Bryonia and Colchicum having a different seasons where the modalities are absolutely different. Colchicum, it is autumnal problems are there. So in the month of October, when the problem is started, the Colchicum comes closer. When it happens to be there in the month of summer, then Bryonia comes. This is the basic difference. Even though modalities are very similar, that is the aggravation by motion is there, or there is a severe inflammation is there, pain is there. Yes, both of them are having very close affections, but still there is a difference. And that's what we have to understand. I have given Colchicum 200 repeatedly in that patient, and within a day, the whole thing dissolved. Next day, he was able to walk, and within 4 5 days, the whole thing disappeared. And he developed little bit dysentery again. After dysentery, it has disappeared by its own, and he has been cured. So this is one important case which defines exactly how the thing happens to be there. These you have to find it out. These you have to look at. Second important case which I want to share with all of you was the case of a severe nausea. It was the patient explained that I'm feeling that whether I have the jaundice or etc. Because I'm feeling so nausea. I hate the food. I don't want it in front of my mind. When I look towards it, I felt nausea. Specifically, I cannot tolerate the smell of fish, smell of non-veg, smell of eggs, smell of meat, nothing. I could not. I get a vomiting sensation, tremendous vomiting sensation because of that. And what this has happened since last 8 days. Even my yesterday, they have checked my urine. It was found to be normal, nothing abnormal. But still, I asked them that please check my bilirubin, but they refused. They said if it is there in the urine, we can find it out. But it was not there. But I could not tolerate anything, doctor. So she was very, very, very much disturbed because of that. Whenever such a thing is there, few remedies strikes our mind. One is sepia, another is ipecac, the third one is arsenic album. These are the commonest remedies where there is nausea at the smell and sight of the food, which you can get very commonly. Then I asked anything else, any she was student of final year MBBS, and I asked any sir, there is stress since last 1 month because I'm doing whole night work, studying a lot because next month my exams are there. That was a clear-cut indication of prescribing the colchicum because elements from night watching associated with nausea at the sight and smell of the food, very typically of the colchicum. So I prescribed the colchicum and patient felt immediately better after the colchicum. Here I utilized the colchicum again in 200 potency. Moderate potency is sufficient in colchicum because it is a remedy which has an acute pace, which they were never required to give it in very high potency. Not at all. So colchicum 200 in repeated doses and patient was settled within 2 days. Absolutely nice. So we have to understand the colchicum, and that's why we'll learn it from the Allen's notes. Let us open your Allen's notes and let's see what is Colchicum autumnale. It is meadow saffron. The family is Liliaceae. The first sentence defines the constitution of the Colchicum, adapted to the rheumatic, gouty diathesis, persons of robust, vigorous constitution. See, rheumatic, gouty, Ledampal, again same sentence, same words comes. Barbaris vulgaris, same word comes. These are very important things. Here the action is defined that gouty tendency, gouty diathesis is very typical, rheumatic diathesis is very typical. But here the constitution is different. Here the persons of robust, vigorous constitution, they are not weak personality. They are the persons who have big constitution, they are robust, gatte. Robust, vigorous constitution, diseases of the old people. So, see, again defining the action. And this is how it has been mentioned, diseases of old people, because this when remedy is proved on different ages, old people have shown maximum symptoms of Colchicum autumnale. That's why we can get all those tendencies that this is the remedy which acts more commonly in the old people. External impressions like light, noise, strong odors, contact, bad manners make him almost beside himself. Beside himself means it is a phrase, means gets too angry, ati prakshubdha hone, tremendous anger is beside himself. And it is so sensitive remedy like Naxomika. Nux is also like that. Nux never tolerates slightest noise. Even if you tries to change the pages and if it produces noise, Nux immediately reacts. Say stop that. This is Nux reaction. They are so sensitive to noise, such types of noise. Very close to it is the colchicum, having very acute pace like nerves. And that's why we must know all external impression, light also aggravates, noise also aggravates, strong odors also aggravates, contact, touch also aggravates, bad manners. If anyone is behaving in a bad manner, they immediately gets reacted. What is how this fellow is? That this is the reaction. Like a nurse, making almost besides himself, his suffering seems intolerable. His suffering seems intolerable. He cannot tolerate that. He suffers a lot because of such a thing. All these modalities aggravates the colchicum. And that's what we have to understand. These problems are always there with the colchicum. We what happens generally we think of colchicum just gouty remedy. No, there are many more things it's called in colchicum. And these are the things one must understand. Elements from, so causes, how the disorder develops. Elements from grief or misdeeds of others, like staphysagria, colosines, we have learned. Staphysagria, righteous anger. This is same with the colchicum autumnale. If someone is doing something misdeed and it is causing trouble, colchicum never tolerates. They gets immediately suffered. They react. That is the thing. The anger is provoked in the colchicum with the similar manner. There is a long-lasting grief. That is also one of the cause in colchicum. Then the pains of colchicum. See, pains here one can differentiate the bryonia from the colchicum. Pains are drawing, odlasarka what now? Tearing, as if someone is tearing something, pressing, in bryonia, they are more of stitching character. That is, this is the difference between bryonia and colchicum. In bryonia, effusion is more marked. Colchicum, inflammation is more marked. The differences lies at that level. Bryonia, it is the second stage of inflammation where there is a fluid movement and effusion. In case of colchicum, it is the first stage, congestive stage is more marked. So pains are drawing, tearing, pressing, light or superficial during warm weather, affects the bones and deeper tissues when air is cold. So affects the deeper structures, deeper tissues, bones, and when air is cold, specifically in these months, in the month of autumn, September, October, November, October heat is there, but air is cold at night. These people suffers a lot. Pains goes from left to right, like I see. This is another modality of the colchicum. It starts on left side, goes to the right side. Bryonia, it starts from right side, goes to the left side. The opposite poles, bryonia and colchicum. Like lachesis and lycopodium. Lycopodium right to left, lachesis left to right. See, next sentence is given in bold and has a lot of meaning. Smell when fully acute. So they are very acute, immediately catches the smell. Nausea and faintness from the odor of cooking food. They become so nauseated, they sometimes faint because of that smell. Especially it is of fish, eggs, or fat meat like arsenic and sapien. Bad effects from night watching, cocculus, another remedy. But colchicum is more specific. Those who used to study hard at night and suffers from GI trouble, suffers from dysentery, suffers from rheumatism, suffers from headache. Colchicum is wonderful remedy for such people. Those who used to talk like that may as night marley. Night marley means whole night they have studied and they next day they suffer from GI disturbances. This is the wonderful remedy to be utilized than the Naxvomica. Aversion to food, loathing even the sight or still more the smell of it. So just the smell of food, sight of the food immediately provoke aversion to the food and they don't want it anymore. The abdomen is immensely distended with the gas, feeling as if it would burst. It looks like a china, it looks like a lycopodium, it looks like a carbovage. But here there is absolute aversion to food is very important feature in colchicum. Burning or icy coldness in the stomach and abdomen. See what he says, burning is there or icy coldness, severe icy coldness in the stomach and abdomen. Autumnal dysentery, underline this. This is given in, the name is given on this specific entity. Autumnal dysentery discharges from the bowels contains large white shreddy particles in large quantity. So this is very typical with this remedy. White shreddy particles and they are mucoid stools, lot of containing lot of mucus flakes, which is there with the colchicum. And that's one thing one should not forget. White mucus, scrapings of intestine, like cantharis, like carbolic acid, scrapings of intestine, they are very marked with the cantharis. Cantharis we generally forget in the dysentery. Cantharis we used to think about urinary tract infection or burning or burns. But this remedy is a wonderful remedy specifically in the dysentery also. So cantharis is also close to it in dysentery. Urine has very typical features. The dark, it is because of dysentery, the or dehydration produces dark urine, scanty urine, suppressed urine, urine in drops with white sediment, bloody urine, brown, black, inky urine, contains clots of putrid decomposed blood, albumin, sugar. So kidneys is at the fault. Whenever the dysentery happens, it goes into the kidney affection over kidneys because of dehydration and such types of oliguria, which is quite common with this, and strong urine, another feature of this remedy. Second important thing, it contains more amount of albumin, sugar, as well as it contains more about the urates, the uric acid crystals, which are very common with the urine, and that's why it becomes very strong, concentrated urine in case of the Colchicum autumnale. And then affected parts very sensitive to contact and motion. So if the joint is swollen, they never allows you to touch. It is so sensitive and they are not able to move. Motion aggravates like a bryonia. Only things are pains are rather different in bryonia, pains are rather different in colchicum. Colchicum, it is more of a drawing, tearing, pressing. In bryonia, it is more of stitching. In colchicum, it is more acute inflammatory congestive stage. In bryonia, it is more of the subacute in the effusion part. So we can very easily differentiate these two remedies even though the modalities look same. Arthritic pains in joints, patient screams with the pain on touching a joint or stubbing a toe. And this is very, very typical. Acute attack of gout is always too painful. It is so acute, it shows all signs of inflammation. Generally, the grade 2, which is the site of affection in this colchicum autumnale, and same medicine used in material form in allopathy for the gout, the colchicum. It was the earlier remedy they used to use, but it used to produce the nephrotoxic effects, and that's why nowadays colchicum is not used in allopathic practice. They are using new remedies. But earlier there was only one remedy, the colchicum was there. But it has direct effect on kidneys. That's what we in the provings we have, and that's why this remedy was not used now in material form in allopathy. See the relationship. What he says. Relations compare bryonia in rheumatic gout with serous effusions. See, this is the difference. Serous effusion, bryonia is having more action on the serous tissue. And that's why the effusion is always, serous membranes always produces serum, secret serum. And that's why effusion is quite common with the bryonia. Bryonia in rheumatic gout with serous effusion. In rheumatism, in warm weather. See, the warm weather aggravation, summer weather aggravation, bryonia is the remedy. Here it is very specifically autumnal aggravation is there in colchicum. Often cures dropsy after apis and arsenic pills. So dropsy, if the apis fails, the arsenic fails, think of the colchicum, another remedy. But if it is associated with arthritis, then you are damn sure about the colchicum. Aggravation, the mental emotion or exhaustion. So every mental stress, emotional stress always aggravates the complaints of colchicum. Exhaustion also aggravates the complaints of colchicum. Effects of heart study. Heart study means it is not direct effect of heart study, it is the effect of night watching basically. That is more important. People consider it a heart study and they suffer. It is not like that. It is the emotion, it is the in fact night watching which creates the problem. Odor of cooking food aggravates, yes, and that is very specific for the colchicum. Then he has mentioned about one more thing, comparison between bryonia, motion. If the patient lies perfectly still, the disposition to vomit is less urgent. Patient feels better if absolutely rest. And if he starts moving, every motion renews the nausea and vomiting. So that is more commonly with the GI troubles in colchicum. In bryonia, it is more common with the rheumatic complaint. So here he has tried to explain the clinical aspect of colchicum autumnale in comparison with the bryonia more commonly. And two more remedies, the sepia, then the cocculus is one very close to it. Arsenic is one more remedy which he tried to compare with the colchicum earlier. So this is a wonderful remedy which is useful in acute gouty rheumatism, very instantaneous remedy to act if the symptoms matches. So one should have colchicum always at least in a moderate doses 30 to 100 in their practice. There were many questions, just I will go through them. Yes. There was one question, loathing. Loathing means stress. Lot of sari dunia ka boj, loathing. That is loathing. It is not mental stress. Hard study here. The people who used to study a lot at night, they used to do a study. There are many students who have habit of you daytime they enjoy, then at night they start studying at 10 o'clock until 6 o'clock they goes on studying. This night watching is responsible to produce. It is not the stress which has produced the problem over there. It is night watching which used to produce the problem in colchicum. That's what I want to define over there or explain over there. So any other query, any other question, if it is there, we'll have a chat. Otherwise, we'll meet directly on Monday with another remedy. So any question? So today we'll conclude with on this line and we'll start with one more new remedy on Monday session. Most probably, I think we have not discussed the Ethuja scene. We'll discuss the Ethuja scene on the Monday session. So till that, thank you very much for attending session and be there with the philosophy also on Monday. Thanks a lot. Good night.